Alexander Grant was sitting in first class on Christmas Eve, sipping wine and staring out the window as the plane prepared for takeoff. Around him, business travelers checked their phones and reviewed documents. No one spoke to anyone else. Everyone was alone together. Alexander was flying to nowhere in particular. He'd boarded a flight to Chicago simply because he had nowhere else to be. No family, no home to return to, just an empty penthouse and another holiday spent working. He was lost in these thoughts when a small voice interrupted him. Mom said lonely people need friends. Alexander looked down to see a little boy, maybe 3 or 4 years old, standing in the aisle. He wore a red winter coat with snowflakes on it, a colorful knit hat, and held a stuffed penguin. He was looking up at Alexander with serious, concerned eyes. "I'm sorry," Alexander said. "You look lonely. Mom says when people look lonely, we should be their friend. Do you want to be friends?" Before Alexander could respond, a young woman rushed up the aisle. She had blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail and wore a tan dress and jacket. She looked flustered and apologetic. "Owen, I told you to stay in your seat." She looked at Alexander. "I'm so sorry. My son has no sense of boundaries. We're in economy, but he somehow got past me. He's fine," Alexander found himself saying. "He said I look lonely." The woman's face flushed. "Oh God. Owen, you can't just tell people they look lonely." "But he does, Mommy. He has the same face you have sometimes." The lonely face. The flight attendant appeared. "Is there a problem?" "No problem," Alexander said. "Actually, would it be possible for this woman and her son to sit here? I have 2 seats. My assistant booked the seat beside me for work materials, but I don't need it." The flight attendant looked uncertain. "Sir, they have economy tickets. I'd like to upgrade them." "My treat. Consider it a Christmas gift." The woman stared at him. We can't accept." Your son said lonely people need friends." "He's right. And I'm lonely. So please, sit. Be my friend for this flight." The woman, whose name was Emma Richardson, reluctantly accepted. As she settled Owen into the seat beside Alexander, she explained they were flying to Portland to spend Christmas with her sister. Owen's father had left when Emma was pregnant, and she'd been raising Owen alone while working as a teacher. "Owen's been on a mission lately," Emma said, embarrassed. "Ever since I explained that his teacher was sad. Because she was lonely, he's decided it's his job to befriend every lonely person he sees. I've been trying to teach him boundaries, but he has strong empathy for a 3-year-old. I think it's remarkable," Alexander said. He looked at Owen. "How did you know I was lonely?" "You were looking out the window with sad eyes. And you're sitting by yourself even though there's an extra seat. And you have the same smile, but not really smile that Mommy has sometimes. That's the lonely smile." Alexander felt something crack in his chest. "You're a very observant young man." Over the flight, Owen kept up a steady stream of conversation, showing Alexander his penguin. His name is Waddles, asking about airplanes, sharing his cookies. Emma apologized repeatedly, but Alexander found himself genuinely enjoying the interaction. "I run a tech company," Alexander told Emma during one of Owen's brief quiet moments. "I've spent the last 15 years building it into a success. But I don't have anyone to share that success with. No family, no close friends. I was flying to Chicago tonight because I literally had nowhere else to be on Christmas." "That sounds incredibly lonely." "It is. And I didn't fully realize it until your son pointed it out." "He's right, I do have a lonely face. And I have been lonely for a very long time. I just didn't admit it until a 3-year-old called me out." When the plane landed, Alexander found himself not wanting to say goodbye. "Emma, this is going to sound strange, but would you and Owen like to have dinner with me? I don't know anyone in Portland, and spending Christmas Eve alone in a hotel room sounds even more depressing now that I've had company." Emma hesitated. "I don't know, please, Mommy," Owen said. "He's our friend now. We can't leave our friend alone on Christmas." "Your son makes a compelling argument," Alexander said. Emma laughed. "He really does. Okay, dinner, but somewhere casual." Owen gets messy. Over pizza and arcade games at a family restaurant, Alexander learned more about Emma's life. She taught 2nd grade, loved her students, struggled to make ends meet on a teacher's salary. She'd built a good life for Owen despite the challenges of single parenthood. "Why didn't you get remarried?" Alexander asked. "You're clearly amazing, great mother, career you love, kind heart. Because most men run when they find out I have a toddler. And the ones who don't run usually want me to give up teaching for something more lucrative. But teaching is who I am. It's not just a job. Anyone who asks you to give that up doesn't deserve you." Over the following months, Alexander found reasons to visit Portland. He'd video call Owen, send books and toys, have long phone conversations with Emma about everything and nothing. And somewhere between teaching Owen about technology and listening to Emma's stories about her students, Alexander fell in love with both of them. "I need to be honest with you," Alexander told Emma 6 months after Owen had approached him on that plane. When Owen said lonely people need friends, he was right. "But Emma, I don't want to be just your friend anymore. I want to be part of your family. I love Owen. I love you. You've both shown me what I was missing: connection, purpose, joy in simple things. Will you give me a chance?" "Alexander, you're a billionaire. I'm a teacher who lives paycheck to paycheck. You're a woman who's taught your son to see people's pain and respond with friendship. You've created a life filled with purpose and love, despite having limited resources. Emma, you have everything I need. Let me be part of it." A year after Owen had told Alexander that lonely people need friends, Alexander proposed with Owen's involvement and approval. "Emma, your son saw my lonely face and decided I needed a friend. He was right. But you've both become more than friends, you've become my family. You've shown me what matters: not money or success, but connection, love, belonging. Will you marry me? Let me officially join the family Owen invited me into." At their wedding, Owen served as ring bearer and gave a toast. "I saw the man on the airplane and he had a lonely face. Mom says when people look lonely, we should be their friend. So I was his friend. Then Mom was his friend too. Then he became my daddy. So if you see someone with a lonely face, you should be their friend. Because being friends is how you make a family." Sometimes a 3-year-old sees what adults miss. Sometimes lonely people really do need friends. Sometimes a child's observation on a plane changes 3 lives. And sometimes, the lonely face in first class finds exactly what's been missing: a little boy's friendship and a mother's love. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it. Subscribe for more stories about loneliness, connection, and families from Through Compassion. Leave a comment about when someone recognized your loneliness and reached out. Your stories inspire us all.